What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Friday, March 29th, deep in the heart of WrestleMania season. We're going to talk about SmackDown tonight. We're going to talk about wrestling today. We're going to have a blast. Happy Friday, everyone. And for a fun Friday like this, I got to have the wickedest crew in the business possible. First and foremost, I got to send out to the DMV. And you might be getting your twos up usual, but today he's our resident reader. My good friend Shad is in the building. How have you been?
My bad. Apologies. I am just reading the memoir of Becky Lynch, the man that is actually, if I'm not mistaken, signed
Oh,
yesterday. You know, by hers truly. The man got to meet her um, at a book signing yesterday in the nation's capital. It was great, but yeah, just getting my reading in. Getting motivated, feeling like the man got her hoodie on today. Got some Seth Rollins inspired sunglasses and I'm ready to cook, man. Good to see you guys. Let's get into it.
I'm stoked about it too, dude. That had to be a blast too. Monster shout out Becky Lynch too. How about that? Who had that first run in on the show, Becky Lynch? Speaking of run ins, we've got a good friend of mine today, Carter Crisp, but we may have a Cardi Carnett run in at some point. But right now, it's Carter Crisp. How are you?
Is he gonna show up, man? That guy comes out of nowhere
Out
every
of
time.
nowhere. He's
I'm
like an
doing good,
RKO.
but I'm terrified. I'm gonna be hearing about Outlaw Mud shows and Jelly Janela, but I'm doing good. I was feeling inspired by Shad's glasses, so I put my glasses on. Ready to talk about WWE. We're talking about the big boys, and yeah, let's get into it.
I can't lie to you guys. Both shades look outstanding, but also, I do feel a bit left out because if I put shades on, there is no way I could pull off the camera cuts and read the comments properly myself. So I'm gonna go shade free for the show, but I do respect them. Tink2254 over on Instagram already with the hey guys, good to see you as always. Thank you
Good,
so
brother.
much for tuning in, friend of the show. Soul said it's a forged signature, lies and deception. No.
I gotta show you a picture too.
He,
So,
he's
like,
got photo evidence. Come on, Soul.
come
Come
on,
on,
man.
Soul.
That's me and the man right there. If y'all ain't hip to it, man.
Absolutely. And then Magic Mike D added Dollar Tree shades. Yes.
Oh yeah, you already know. I got these from Five Below, brother.
Five Below. Those things are money. Let's get into the show, though. Let's talk about a topic that I'm excited to talk about because I spent the majority of early spring last year talking about this very wrestler, Jade Cargill. How are we going to debut Jade Cargill in the WWE potentially tonight? It looks like she is going to make the big move here on SmackDown. I thought Jade carried the AEW women's division in a time when there were some issues booking wise. She made the TBS belt super important. The undefeated streak was off the charts. I have no complaints about that run. I think Jade Cargill is one of the most talented wrestlers in this business, women in this business, period. No matter what they do, I'm excited about it. But Shad, I got to get your ideas here. How are we doing this? Where do we start?
Well, first and foremost, let me say, finally, we get to see Jade on weekly television. Finally, she has a designated home on the WWE roster, part of the SmackDown roster. I made a tweet earlier. A lot of people mad at me about it. Oh well, oh well. But WWE has an embarrassment of superstar riches in that women's division, and a lot of them are on the SmackDown roster. So Jade adds another viable competitor in what's already stacked roster. And I big money moves, man. Big money moves. Primetime players got to be put in primetime position. We got the showcase of the Immortals, as they call it, WrestleMania coming up in a couple weeks. You got to plan something for her. I know it's only 2 weeks, but I think the move is there is already a place storyline within it. We have Damage Control, those evil, deviant, bad girls on SmackDown running a ruckus over there and attacking Naomi for no reason. Bianca's starting to get into it and defend her. The numbers seem a little odd, right? There's 3-2. I think you add the third. I think you add Jade. I think you create a storyline for a multi-woman match at WrestleMania. Jade, Naomi, Bianca. Crazy team, by the way. That's like
Yeah.
a superstar lineup ver-
Stacked.
versus Damage Control. And you put Jade in that multi-woman match. I know people's knock is Jade ready in ring wise? I personally am gonna be real with you. Yeah, she may be green because she's newer within the business in a couple years. I think a lot of y'all kind of over exaggerating, making it seem like she can't wrestle at all.
So
She's a
true.
beast. She's a powerhouse, but you put her in that type of match, and from that, whatever direction you go with it, you can create a lot of storylines, man. You can create a storyline with her and Bianca finally teeing off for Naomi if it doesn't work for him, or you can have her have storylines going against one of the members of Damage Control, maybe possibly EO after Mania or Bailey, whatever it may be. But you kind of just got her in the fold, and you got to get her in these in the lights because it's Mania, dude. Like not having Jade at Mania, I don't know. It feels kind of odd to me. I feel like she's a person that would be positioned and you'd want to have on your pay-per-view screen, especially in the crowd. Like people know who she is. If you don't know who she is, when you look at her, you want to know who she is because she looks that amazing as a superstar. So that's how I'm going with it. But I'm excited. I'm gonna have my television on watching SmackDown. Excited to see Miss Jade Cargill make her debut.
Totally same. I'm with you, and I agree with you too. Talk about 27 Yankees murderers row. If you add Jade Cargill to that equation when it comes to that multi-woman match, a tag match, whatever it may be, nothing short of delightful there. We've also got comments over on Instagram. Gypsy_duo says, "Hi guys, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in." And then over here on YouTube, we've got epic content from Sean's View Entertainment or ENT. And then great show, guys. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, Carter, though, I gotta ask you the same scenario. Do you see something different other than being inserted into the Damage Control storyline? Because I like what Shad had to say there. I mean, if anyone can control some damage, it might be Jade Cargill. And so I gotta ask you, Carter, your thoughts.
I love Shad. That team you laid out. Woo, woo. And since Ben's not here, I could say this. Triple H, how about a women's trios championships? Put
Oh,
6 girls in the ring, Triple H. Listen to me. No, I mean, to me, it's going to be hard to talk about Jade without talking about the other company. She is such a big signing in the intra-promotional wars we have going on. That was such a big win over the other guys that she's just I see her as like, and she's a little bit less experienced than this person, but I see her as hot of a prospect as Gunther. Like I see her as
yeah.
women's champion, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, cream of the crop. I almost so I have the WWE roster here. I was like, why don't you just have her squash Indy Hartwell like 5 times? But Indy's on Raw, so that's right. I would honestly, this is me, and this again, I don't know if Ben would like this, but I would introduce a women's mid card title and have her win it right off the bat, a la Okada entering AEW. But that is me booking the WWE as if it was Chikara, and I know that's totally wrong, but I just think she's a great prospect. I think I totally agree with Shot. As green as she might be, it really doesn't matter. She's had enough experience in AEW to where she can work safe. She just looks so good for a women's pro wrestler. She has like the best look out of anyone I've seen in a really long time. Just for a wrestler for this,
Yes.
like Rhea Ripley levels of like whoa. So I
Mhm.
mean, it's just exciting. She's going into a very stacked
So
women's
true.
division, which yeah. So I mean, it's Jaden Brea. Ooh, I just
My my
stumbled on that
my
one, but
That would
I,
be interesting.
to rebuttal what you said, right? And my only thing with about your idea, which I don't think is a bad idea, but it kind of is close to home of what we had in AEW though, right?
Yeah.
Because the TBS title had it. Like I feel like there's more to her than just being a beast. I feel like the thing that was missing in AEW, as great as that she was in AEW, and I think her time in AEW was well spent, and I think it benefited her, especially being new in the business. Like you got like you and me talked about it on the show a little while ago,
Yeah.
Clark. The woman got thrown first match with freaking Shaq and the guy who's main eventing WrestleMania both nights, right?
Yeah.
you know, and there's something about her, but the one thing that I want to see in WWE is the fact that it is more sports entertainment centric, where AEW is more pro wrestling segment centric, and I feel like stories can be told with Jade in WWE
Totally.
and add like that because she has an ambiance of like a legitimate like actress in a way where I want to see what she can do within storylines and work with superstars who are very good at telling stories as well. But yeah, I mean, squashing Indy Hartwell 5 times would be pretty tough for poor Indy, but
She'll do it.
I gotta say though, with Jade, because I agree with a lot of what you both said there, Shot, especially at the end about Jaden, and we did talk about. I mean, she's been rocket ship strapped too, and
Mhm,
delivered every time though, which
right.
is arguably even harder to do than sort of like the more organic come up,
Hmm.
right? Like she got shoved in our face and then proved it to us.
Yeah,
That to me is what's so impressive. I'm gonna miss that B word that I can't say on the show
yeah.
because I loved it.
Unless she goes to Raw,
But what I will say
Netflix.
is Netflix, yeah, maybe they will allow that. Let's hope. We can only hope. But I think, we're gonna talk about the final boss later in the show.
Yeah.
And on the women's side, she kind of was that already in AEW.
Oh yeah.
Say what you will around the edges. Why not fill it up again? Right? Let it happen again. And sometimes the wrestler makes the title, sometimes the title makes the wrestler. I
Hmm.
think she made a title already. So while I hear Carter's theory about a mid card title, I don't know that it's necessary this time. If she's just so dominant and unbeatable and kind of stays away from the title for a bit, it's going to make it that much more valuable when she chooses a Charlotte Flair or a Rhea Ripley down the road as the
Hmm.
one that she wants to target. And then she can do the same thing again where she can really make the title in a way, right? Like
Yeah, I agree with
and
that.
dominate. I think a run of kind of being the almost being not damage control, but like the fixer, right? Like she goes and
It's
solves,
close up shop. Like
yeah,
just ends
just
it.
yeah,
All you. It's like that's a and that's a see
yeah,
that's a story to itself. It's like these
Yeah.
women have been wreaking havoc in SmackDown and you know been the dominant faction. I mean, they are damn near half of the roster on the women's side
right.
on the SmackDown, but
Yeah.
they've been the catalyst of running SmackDown for the last half a year. And she comes and Bailey gets her moment, but she just closes the rest of it in the snap of a finger as she debuts. That's pretty telling within itself. That makes you look pretty like dominant off of the out the gate. So
Yeah, I think she just needs to run through a lot of the roster, like more than
yeah.
one. Maybe that's why the damage control insert her into like a 6-woman tag, right? Would
My
be
my thing my thing is this though. She's she's a tricky one because I think you compared to Rhea, she is like Rhea because I don't think she's a baby face, but like you like her so much where she's not a heel. Like she doesn't get the typical heel.
Yeah. Bruiser
That's right.
Like
I
Brody.
think we can get to heel if we can make her the unstoppable force
yeah.
and then find that immovable object on the other side, whether it be like maybe Bianca Belair as the
Hmm.
first world title match with that should headline a pay-per-view. We haven't seen in too long in the WWE. We talk a lot about AEW's women's division. We've not seen a women's division main event a PLE in a calendar year, as far as I can remember. It hasn't happened, right? It was happening, and now it doesn't. And it's
Yeah, it
not going
doesn't
to happen
happen
at
as
Mania.
it doesn't happen as often. I mean, obviously Rhea got her opportunity to main event against Nia at the Backlash, but like that Jade and Bianca, given the time, like give it a year or so, like that has. And I made a tweet about it earlier. I think, like, say what you want to say, they got enough star power to have arguably two main events at Mania next year with women's matches. Like Bianca and Jade could very well be a Mania match. Rhea versus, I don't know, pick someone out of a hat if it's built well enough, right?
Yeah.
Or Charlotte versus somebody or whatever it may be. Like they got a lot of star power, and that's good for Jade. Jade can mix it up with a lot of different girls in WWE because it's a clean slate, and it's gonna be cool for them because there's so many fresh matches. Like Becky versus Jade, I think could be a very fun feud because Becky is good with working against stronger, bigger opponents. She did great versus Nia. Her and Bianca is one of my favorite feuds within the last few years. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then we've got a comment over here from Chris Leclerc, which is Bailey has never main evented WrestleMania. I agree. That would have been awesome to see this year.
She
And then
deserves one.
number one, Superfly, good friend of the show, added Jade versus Bianca should happen at one of their hometowns on a premium live event. That'd be cool as could be. Chaos over, or maybe his assistant, not totally sure, over on Instagram added Elimination Chamber, not Backlash, LOL.
Oh my bad.
And
Yeah, Elimination Chamber. Whatever, man.
but respect Chaos. Thank you for.
Backlash was the Zelina Vega thing. I
We've
got
got
that confused. My
we've
bad.
got either Chaos or his assistant over there on Facts and Info today. he's he's working the Jamie Rogan experience spot. I'm kidding. Let's move into our next topic. That we got Street Profits versus a town down under. A town down under. Is
Eight
that
Town.
is that
Yeah.
what we're saying now? It's Theory in Austin Theory. We're allowed to say Austin again,
Mm.
which explains the A and A town. And Grayson Waller of the Grayson Waller effect, obviously pretty big time, show. I'm kidding. No, but this is a ladder match, which is interesting to me.
No. It's a ladder qualifier match for Mania.
Yeah, ladder qualifier match. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
not a ladder match, but is it going to be a ladder match at Mania, right?
Yeah, it's gonna. So we have all the
That's yeah.
five people. So we got the last two teams for the ladder match to be tonight. So this is one of the qualifier matches.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, no, because I'm sorry. That's kind of what I was trying to say, but I little bit
you
short. I got
you
ahead of
good.
myself there, and that didn't come out exactly right. Okay, but the point I was going to make is if it is a ladder match at Mania, the Street Profits make more sense in that match because what
Mhm.
Montez Ford can do in a ladder match is going to be outstanding, and that's what Mania is about. But I have a bad feeling about A Town Down Under sneaking a win tonight. I'm not sure. Been bugged by the way the Street Profits have been booked for the last year. Shad, dude,
Ugh. You
tell
might,
me,
you might, you
they're
might.
not putting A Town Down Under over. Please tell me that.
Oh yeah, the betting favorites is definitely gonna be Waller and Theory winning tonight. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm logically basing this off of how the tag division has been booked, how both of these teams have been booked, I would probably say Theory and Waller deserve to win. And that is nothing against the Street Profits because I think the Street Profits are a way better tag team than them. I think they'd be way more entertaining to have at WrestleMania. It's just I don't know what they're doing with them. And I spoke about it a few weeks ago. There's a clip of it on the Instagram. The Street Profits are being wasted in this entire faction with Lashley. This faction is not working. They cannot try to recreate the Hurt Business with them because it doesn't fit the ambiance of who they are as characters. If they're gonna be heels, you gotta go full heel with them. You gotta scrap all the mannerisms. They gotta work more like heels, work more like BAs, and they gotta, not be interactive and dancing into the entrance. You gotta cut the music, all of
Yeah.
that. They haven't done that. They've literally been teeter-totting around it, and it's not benefited them. It's kind of just been awkward. And I hate the ring gear now too. It's not for me, man. I would rather them just go back to what they do, or have them maybe break up and let's see what Montez can do as a single stars. But I think A Town Down Under is gonna win the night. I'm not upset about it either. I'm not as low on them as a lot of other people may be. I think they're both great workers, and I think they can do fun stuff in the ladder match as well. Austin Theory sells like $1,000,000. He also is prone to doing crazy stuff spot wise. I mean, that man took an F5 from Brock on top of the elimination chamber chaos when they had that, and and Waller's also a guy who has a good athletic trace and can do all that. So it's gonna be. I think it'll be a fun match. I think all four of these guys are solid workers. SmackDown has definitely been tag team heavy because of these whole qualifier matches, which has been cool. Um, I have a theory for you, not Austin theory. Um, for this tag match, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I think they should put both sets of tag team titles up there, and I think you have to get if you get one tag team title, you're the Raw tag team champs. If you get the blue, like I feel this is a
Split them
perfect
that way. I
split
love
them
that.
that way. I think this would be the perfect opportunity to split the titles that way, and I hope they do that. I was talking about that with a guy yesterday, and I was like, man, that really would be the best move for it. We're in agreement for it, so I would definitely do that. Because there's a lot of talent on the tag team division, so let's utilize these guys on SmackDown and Raw by giving them something to fight for. Because yeah, WWE's a little again, they're getting better with the tag teams, man. So yeah.
Dude, I am so sorry for jumping in there, but that idea is brilliant. They gotta split them in this ladder match. That is genius. I could not agree more. Also, speaking of perfect timing here, we've got Devin Collins 0 over on Instagram with what time will the winners be announced for the 2 WrestleMania tickets, plus the tailgate, plus the superstar appearances, plus the shuttle back and forth, Raw after Mania. A lot of good stuff. Oh, yeah, and that hotel room. This one's a sweet giveaway. I've got good news, bad news. The good news is I know exactly what time it will be announced, and that's during SmackDown. The bad news is I don't know exactly what time it will be announced because I don't know the precise minute during that 2-hour stretch. So, a little bit of a dilemma there, but either way, if you join the contest, tune in during SmackDown, check Next Level. It will be announced. I don't know who won. I wish I did. It would be cool. I might even give you a spoiler. I'm kidding. We're totally spoiler free over here at Wrestling Republic. Let me talk about Next Level though really quickly. We got one place, all the platforms. If you like consuming content, especially wrestling content, maybe even ours, which would be nice. Over on Next Level, go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, and it's linked all in one place. Don't hesitate to go over there. And also, after this giveaway, we've got more via us and Next Level to announce too. A couple things up our sleeves. Can't do teasers. I wish I could. Want to tell everybody, but stay tuned because we got some sweet stuff to announce. No doubt about that. We've got a few more comments over here. We've got the authors of Pain should cost the Street Profits the match from Chris LeClaire. And then he also added, I am rooting for R-Truth to win at WrestleMania 40 for the first win at WrestleMania. Honestly, that would actually be kind of fun. I do love R-Truth, but I wish that they would have been able to build the Miz and Truth thing a bit more than they have. Let's talk, though, speaking of tag teams and tag team matches, let's talk about the new Catch Republic, which is obviously redacted, courtesy of our boss, Ben Allison. You know, we are the only Republic in wrestling when it comes to that. So we can't even say it's just the new Catch. That's who they are. against Legado del Fantasma in another qualifying match for the eventual ladder match that me and Shad just broke down, mostly Shad. We hope they split the titles on. Carter, who do you think goes over in this one?
I
Who's
mean,
going to look better in the ladder match, and do either team have a chance of winning the whole tournament?
Clark, when a team has the word catch in their name, it's tough for me. So for the fans who don't know, I am a practicing catch wrestler. Clark has found out. You could put your hands on me,
No, he's
and you
good.
could
It's true.
learn all of the holds we have. Clark's got a little bit too, so he's not, and he's got a couple recent wins on his. But I will say this: Tyler Bate is really underrated. I really like Tyler Bate, and I really like this tag team. I think I agree with you, Shad. They need to like break up the titles or unify them. And I love multiple belts, but I need a SmackDown tag team and a Raw tag team. But I do think that the new catch, I forget that last word, is going to take this one. Legado del Fantasma. They got the upset over the Latino World Order, and I do love that faction. They have a great look. I love the feud with the LWO and everything, but I just see the new Catch Boys going over in this onto the ladder match, which I think are they trying to recreate the Christian Edge Hardy Boys ladder match? I don't remember. It was on that ladder match.
I don't think it'll quite be the TLC match that like you're describing there, just because of the current times. But I think in some way, yeah, like at least a shout out to it, because I do think,
oh yeah,
clearly, I think the two most iconic ladder matches in WrestleMania history. One of them, we actually talked about on Throwback a couple weeks back. Shad, you remember we were talking about WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
Sean and Razor Ramon, and
Yes,
then the other one being WrestleMania X7, the TLC 2, which is Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, and the Dudleys, the Spear. The iconic image of that. Ironically, Rhino's involved in that match.
Yeah,
really?
he is.
How is he?
Is he like the whole match? Basically is booked around Rhino's interference. The match is amazing, and it's a human demolition derby in the words of JR, but like it is interesting there. Numero one I added. Sorry, Shad.
No, go ahead. Go first.
New catch redacted wins. I honestly don't want no nonsense, just a clean win. Maybe backstage we get the eventual 8-man tag match between LWO and Legado del Fantasma with Dominic Mysterio. I wouldn't hate that at all.
It wouldn't be bad. It is a good group of guys that are in this ladder match, though. I will say that, like, because you got obviously Finn and Damian Priest are incredible workers. You got Gargano and Ciampa. You got the New Day, who is arguably one of the best tag teams of all time. And then, however we dice it up tonight, I think both sets of tag teams are really good, right?
Yeah.
Like the Street Profits are really good. New Catch, whatever they call themselves, and then LWO. So, oh my God, I kind of would not mind if LWO was in it, just so Joaquin Wilde can jump off the ladder and hit the top of the of the moon at the link.
He'll literally like touch the sky in the link.
Yeah, he jumped high enough, man. Howie might be calling him, seeing if he wants to play safety for us. So
seriously. Okay. Now we've got two wild topics to finish the show. We're kind of done with our like SmackDown stuff here. We're going to go into some internet stuff. We're going to dive into the mud and come out cleaner somehow. I believe it. We're going to be able to handle these perfectly. But let's talk about, would professional wrestling be as hot right now if Roman Reigns had actually retired in 2020, as Paul Heyman revealed he had considered Shad? No, it wouldn't, right? I mean, okay, wait, before I toss this to you, like, the answer to this is absolutely not. No, like, what? But what would it look like? How about that?
Man, if we did not have Roman Reigns during that time frame of when he returned and beat the Fiend, and the whole tribal chief storyline built itself up, and we had the storyline with the Usos and Cesaro, the Daniel Bryan Edge. Like, there's just so much greatness that occurred with him as being the champion. And you take that away, I feel like wrestling would be in a very, very uh, less settling place, man, because you get a situation where WWE is now starting to create more superstars within the mold, but Roman was the one rarity that was a megastar that was built during that time frame, right? You saw him become someone that we're debating if he is a Mount Rushmore competitor. We're debating if he has the greatest title reign of all time. You take that away, man, I don't know, bro. Like that leaves a big hole for professional wrestling within itself. I don't I don't see a reason for it to think otherwise. Like Roman is fed up as people are with his, title reign, this, that, and the third. He gives you emotion. You have emotions to what he does as a superstar, as a champion. You strip that away, then it's not where we are right now going into Mania with these two night uh pay-per-views. We don't have Cody Rhodes be the star that he is right now without a monster villain like Roman Reigns, right? You don't have Jay Uso being a mega main event star and building himself to that level. Like, there's so much benefit that he's done, and you kind of take all that away if he chooses to retire in 2020. If he did, I would have understand. Obviously, health is your greatest wealth, but we gotta give him. The more I talk about it, we gotta give him his flowers, man. Like
Yeah.
the guy's he's doing some stuff that's kind of unheard of, man.
He changed the whole game. And the weirdest part is it took not nearly as long as you would expect for him to turn. Remember, we were making fun of the dog food stuff with him and Baron Corbin. We were making fun of, he was getting booed as a babyface in Rumbles and Manias and all of this. And then some switch flipped. I don't know what it is, but the work is off. He has not missed since, like truly missed, where you're like, oh no, that was terrible. Like, no, it's the whole industry would be different to your point, right? Got to give the guy his flowers. Like, it's like, it's got to be his. It's not fair to Roman Reigns to not give him credit for like what's happened the last 3 years. Even if you are under the impression it's gotten stale, that just shows you how good of work it's been because someone's going crazy about Cody Rhodes. That doesn't happen without the Roman Reigns part of it. The story wasn't enough. Otherwise, they'd have done it 10 years ago. That still existed, right? The one that we're finishing at 40, that one still existed 10 years ago. They could have told it then, right? If they wanted to, and they didn't. Roman Reigns is a huge part of that, and I think he does
Oh
deserve his
yeah, for
flowers.
sure.
Yeah,
Look, I love Cody Rhodes, and I get the story that is him, getting it for a family lineage, but that family lineage is not what it is if you're not comparing it to the bloodline, which is also the dominant family lineage. M- There's more than one wrestling family is not. That's a slight and a response to Roman's
yeah,
character. Like, there's not a Cody Rhodes in WWE without Roman Reigns. They're literally hand in hand together, and that's more to Roman's credit because he was still doing this dominant stuff prior to that. He made like he's one of the most ultimate villains. Like,
yes.
you take that away from wrestling history, that would be unfortunate.
And that's where, yeah, no, Carter, I got to ask you too. Like, what would wrestling look like no Roman Reigns as of 2020, no less? That's pre, that's pre this Universal title run.
So I'm going to make an argument, and I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to make it anyways. So I think that wrestling's great because of competition, because of things like AEW, things like WCW, because of things like the indies. I think the indies make the WWE great. Like the reason why LA's WrestleMania was so good was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens taking out these guys. Because to me, the WWE, it's like a monolith. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be the biggest wrestling company. I mean, as far as I can see, I don't see anything coming close to challenging it. So, and again, I'm going to point out, I'm probably wrong on this. Like, this is going to be a great Mania. The story buildup was amazing, but I'm an indie-rific speed booker. I think you could do things 10 different ways. I think you could have given the belt to Gunther about 2 years ago, but here we are. But I think the reason why wrestling's in such a good place right now is because of the market cap increase, because so many people are watching it, and that makes the indies good. And when the indies are good, because when I was at PWG as a little kid, I was watching El Generico, Sami Zayn. I didn't know he was going to WWE. Kevin Steen. I mean, I didn't know he was going to WWE, but he became great in the indies. The people that go to NXT, they go to NXT because they weren't great in the indies. So wrestling's good because there's a lot of energy here. That being said, I'm wrong, and Roman Reigns is the greatest superstar wrestling has seen in a really long time, with none of the negatives that has come from some of the past guys from the territory days. So,
right.
I mean, but the reality is, if the WWE signed Speedball Mike Bailey, he could be the new undisputed Universal Champion.
Speedball is good and talented, and I loved so much of what you said there, though, because it's true.
He's a beast.
We're in a completely different time, and it's funny because we love to compare this to the 90s and try to make it AEW and WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, talk about that like it's the same thing. It's not. And so we're going to get on to our last topic, which is a funky one to me. This one's just funny. And look, so they said Final Boss 2. Oh my gosh, they both said it. Oh no, they both said it. Well, okay, so now we got to talk about it. So what? It's a video game thing. Like, who was the first boss? I haven't seen the second boss, the third boss, the fourth boss. I don't know. Was it Big Boss Man existed too? Sasha Banks was the boss. Are we gimmick infringing on this?
I acknowledge her as my boss.
Yeah, she's the true.
She is now my CEO though too. So
yeah, she's the CEO. It's right. Like, to me, we're splitting hairs with this convo. I'm willing to talk about it because it is funny, because it just blew up. As far as like any topic can blow up. Oh no, he's here. Okay, actually, wait a minute. We need to get. Speaking of, on this topic, we need to get the opinion of Mr. Carnett. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Carnett.
Thank you. I saw the topic. I had to just jump in here.
I got to ask you. So both the WWE and AEW have been using Final Boss. The Rock has considered himself the final boss. Sounds like Samoa Joe's the final boss. AEW tweeted about it. There's a t-shirt that's been out for a little bit of time here. It's been controversial. Not only that, Chaos was calling Roman Reigns the final boss for like the last summer. I mean, there's a lot of final bosses. I got to get your opinion, Mr. Carnett, as a legend of the business.
Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Taylor and Mr. Shad. I have to let you know something. Is the greatest professional wrestler in the history of the profession worth calling the final boss? Of course he is. You go Samoa Joe versus the Necro Butcher, Samoa Joe versus Super Dragon. Fans, these matches are on YouTube. Those are the two greatest wrestling matches of all time, ever. So, of course, he's the final boss. Ask Kurt Angle about his run in TNA. What would he say? He said Samoa Joe was a pleasure to work with. We complain about too many belts being in AEW. What did Joe did? He got rid of one of them. When wrestling has problems, Joe fixes them. And that's why I'm telling you, Clark, that Joe, whether he's the final boss, he's the main character, he is it. He's going to be the champion for a long time. The last time we had a man of this likes in this business that was this well respected was Mr. Giant Baba, and he went on a very long run with his triple continental crown. So Joe is the greatest. I can't think of anyone else from this generation who's even close. He's just everything that has gone wrong, Joe has fixed. Joe just solves problems and puts on fantastic wrestling matches. And so you could call him whatever you want as long as it's positive. He is the greatest. He's the main character. He's the final boss. He's the booker. He's the announcer. He's everything. Samoa Joe is everything.
You couldn't be more spot on about the announcer part. Talk about a guy that wore a poncho out there at WrestleMania 37 in Tampa, calling those matches.
Doesn't sound like a boss to me, Clark.
And then got let go the next
That sounds like a worker. That ain't a boss. That's a worker. You standing outside in the rain in a poncho. You are a worker. You were a worker, Mr. Samoa Joe. You told him come on, man. He ain't no final boss. We know who the final boss is. You smell what he's cooking? It's Mr. Dwayne Johnson, all right? I was gonna agree with you, Clark, to the standpoint where it's not a big deal because it's not a big deal. It's just a phrase. But you let this guy, this 1920s watching has-been Cardi Carnett come and disrespect Dwayne, the Rock final boss, Moana character, Maui Johnson.
Biggest guy in Hollywood.
Actor, not a wrestler.
Is Samoa Joe a person that we want to see run for president? I think not.
Maybe.
I think not.
I'm not going to lie to you. Actually, Joe Rock 2020. I'm kind of in on Joe Rock. Can we get both? You see what I mean? I'm talking tag team here. We combine
what Samoa Joe
two?
needs to. What Samoa needs to do? He needs to do like he does his reversal when people try to jump off the top rope. Walk away. Just walk away, Joe. Just walk.
No. He's got a lot of. He's there. The Rock he's in Hollywood. He's making movies. Joe is always in the business. Even when he's hurting, he's there. He's steady.
We gonna talk about movies now. We talk about movies. Samoa Joe played in that was it Twisted Metal?
He's a better actor. He does better comic book movies.
Talk. They didn't even let him talk, Cardi. They didn't even let him use his voice. They just used his frame and put him on a mask. He wasn't even a voice actor for it. Some actor. He is a worker. He works well.
Better actor, better wrestler, better announcer.
I can't lie to you guys. I think the actual final boss, though, is still Mercedes Moné. I think she's the only one that we say it about.
It is Mako Satomura because that was literally her.
That was her gimmick as well.
But all somewhat jokes aside, this is not a big deal, guys. This is really not that big of a deal. Now, is it petty of AEW doing that? Sure. Is it smart for them to do it? Yes. Why wouldn't you? The Rock is the biggest thing happening in pro wrestling right now. Why not use that term on your tweet for more engagement for your Twitter?
Except also, the final boss Samoa Joe T-shirt came out 4 months.
It came out a year ago.
Yeah.
But to your point, they resurfaced it. We don't ever give TNA stuff about them resurfacing old footage of, I don't know, like they literally just shared Becky Lynch talking about AJ Styles or anybody that or like there's a lot of people that come up with
it happens all the time.
They do it a lot, like the Hardys or whatever it may be. Like they do it a lot. We don't ever complain about it. They just resurface it for Twitter engagement. This is the internet. This is social media. This is what you do to be smart. Like you gotta reach out. You trying to sell T-shirts. It's gonna get people to buy T-shirts too. Watch, because they did that. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, that's funny. I gotta buy a shirt now." Come on, man. It's a business. Tony Khan is a person that there's times I disagree with him on how he moves online because it comes off unprofessional. But man, oh man, if that is his personality and he sticks by his guns, I'll respect on it because you stand on business, you stand on 10 toes, you handle how you do it. He a petty dude. He's a young dude too. He's in his early 40s, right? He's from the same, generation as us. So that's just kind of how he moves on it. That's fine. Like it ain't hurting nobody.
It's so
Nobody has
true.
that name. The the big thing is this: if that name was trademarked, nobody has that name trademarked.
No.
So
I don't even think you can trademark Final Boss because it's
no,
such like there are certain, and don't quote me exactly on this, but as far as I'm concerned, I do believe that there are certain laws about like totally generic phrases. You can't overly trademark anymore because of the amount of like lawsuits that came out of that when
mm,
it started. Like, so when you do trademark, it's a little different than it used to be. And so the irony is like the Joe shirt came out last year, like you said, right? And then
yeah,
Rock this year is calling himself the final boss. If we want to make that comparison, that's a fun like debate in a
yeah.
vacuum, right?
There's two
In a
Samoans.
vacuum, that's fun. Funny more than anything, but realistically, they're almost unrelated. And it's so the pettiness isn't even because I agree with you on Tony Khan is younger and so he's swashbuckling, he's gonna go after it. You know, he's willing to be chippy, petty, whatever, right? You'd like to say that way, but I mean, I don't know, like the using the same phrase thing, like you can flip it the other way right
Yeah,
away, and you're like, well, it's in so that's where it's laughable to me. It's like really we're hung up on the final boss thing, like it's it's not a video game. I'm sorry, right? Like
it's
that's the
not.
deal. That does though bring us to the end of the show. Thank you everybody that tuned in. It's been a
Much
blast.
respect to you, Mr. Carnett. I apologize for getting loud
Tip of
with
the
you,
hat.
All
No,
good.
but you're still wrong. But it's all good.
hey,
On behalf of me, Shad, uh, Carter Crisp, and Cardi Carnett, and everybody at Wrestling Republic, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do check out SmackDown tonight and Next Level to see who won. It's during SmackDown. Devin Cullen 0. You'll
Oh yeah,
find out. I promise.
Javon Evans versus Scripps. I'm watching that on Level Up tonight for sure.
Boom. We are checking out Level Up as well. Everybody have an awesome Friday night, and we will talk to you tomorrow.